Hi everybody, welcome to Awareness Through Movement Home Moves Session number 8. Glad to be here with you today, glad that you're taking the plunge to be with me in this virtual experience. Well, it's not really a virtual experience, is it? It's an online experience, but hopefully it's very much real for you. And the realness of it is in the doing, which is what Awareness Through Movement is all about. Doing movement to expand your sense of yourself. So, as always, I'm joined on the floor by Rachel, joined by Rachel. Give us a wave, Rachel. Thank you. Hello. And as always, she's here as a wonderful participant who is giving you a sense of what the position to be in at different times, but she's not here as an example for how to do the movement. She's just in the process, just much the same as you are. So if you get lost at any point and wonder what position you should be in, feel free, of course, to glance at the screen and looking at how Rachel is set up and positioned will give you a sense of that. So that's why Rachel's here. So what are we doing today? Today we're going to follow on from the theme of last week, which was the introduction to the concept of the pelvic clock. So today we're going to expand upon that and develop it a little bit further. So why are we doing that? Pelvic clock, I remember when I was doing my training, it was one of the first lessons that really struck me as, oh my God, that kind of like gives me an insight into what I'm really doing at the center of my sort of movement control and power, which is the pelvis. So we talk about the pelvis being for power, and which is great. There's a lot of big muscles that attach to the pelvis, of course, and it's great to be able to drive our movement potential from the pelvis. But to do that in a way where we don't get injured requires some discrimination over the various muscles that do come to bear on the pelvis. And in doing an awareness through movement exercise like the various iterations of the pelvic clock gives us insight into those muscles and what we're doing. And so through the expansion of this lesson today, you'll start to be able to gain a sense of that yourself, I would hope. And in that, you begin to have a sense of the directions or the movement potentials that are kind of missing. And then once you know that, you can work it out and you can work on it to restore the movement of yourself. And before you know it, little niggles like back pain or hip pain, or maybe some movement directions that have felt a little bit lacking in control or power, start to come together. The pain recedes, pain recedes, and different movement possibilities are restored. So that's a little bit of a long-winded explanation, but that's why I've decided to remain with the theme of the pelvis and pelvic clock today. Now, this is the only pain, potential injury flags I would raise for this one. If you have shoulder pain, a couple of the positions like last week require you to be in a reclined situation where you're leaning on your elbows and also leaning on your hands. So But beyond that, there are no real flags that I would raise about injury concerns with this one. As always, if you do have injuries or health concerns, then it's always better to seek the advice of a medical professional before engaging in these classes. Other than that, go slowly. In going slowly, you can really feel what it is that you do. Look for lightness and a lack of effort, because then in the lightness you can discriminate more easily and feel what it is that you're doing as well. Be curious, be willing to make mistakes be willing to make mistakes as long as you're not pushing yourself hard in making those mistakes. If they're light mistakes, then all the better, because you'll gather up more experience to be able to make discriminations about what is good for you in the movement. So without any further ado, could you bring yourself to the floor and lie down on your back, just like Rachel is now. And in lying on your back, just feel where you're making contact with the floor. And in particular, feel for, if I was to ask you, what's the heaviest part of yourself? What part of your body is most weighted against the floor? What would it be? And if I was to ask yourself, what's the highest point of your body? What would it be? And to assist you with that imagining, envisage the ceiling coming down and dropping to such a point that it just touches upon that highest point on your body, that highest place on yourself. Just imagine, what would it be? And then imagine it drops a little bit further. What would the next highest place be? And it drops a little bit further. What would the next highest place be? And so a bit of a three-dimensional image of yourself starts forming here, of your peaks, your high places, and your weighty places. And bring your attention to your lower back and just how that's feeling and how it's lying. And just, do you have a sense of to what extent that lower back is arched from the floor, is raised from the floor? Just feel into that. Where does it make contact in your pelvis, back of your pelvis? Where does it lift from the floor? And then where does it lower again to make contact somewhere in your mid-back, thoracic spine? And bend your knees and stand your feet. Put your feet comfortably apart, about hip width. And same, just feel how your lower back is lying now. So in this position, you'll probably feel that more of it is making contact. If you were to feel the place in your pelvis where it starts lifting up off the floor, is that different here? And when you feel the place where it lowers to the floor again, in your mid-back, is that different? And then deliberately affect that. So flatten your back. So your lower back is just flat against the floor. And notice in doing that, what you're doing with your pelvis. Notice how your pelvis tilts. So that the top half of your pelvis, the part that's around your sacrum, the part that's closest to your head, it is tilting down and the lower part where your coccyx is, it's lifting up. So now can you deliberately tilt your pelvis the other way? So it's tilting, so your coccyx is descending down to the floor, and just feel how that lifts the upper part of your pelvis up, and that arch in your lower back increases. So just go back and forth. And as you do that, feel how the movement runs all the way down along the length of your spine, and it affects your head. So you just feel whether you can feel that movement as high as your head. So there are a lot of muscles that come to bear on the pelvis to do this movement. And there's a lot of different ways to do it. So this is part of what we'll be exploring over the course of this lesson. Because there's the muscles in your legs, and there's your hip flexors, like these deep and upper muscles that are connecting your upper legs to your pelvis. And indeed some like the psoas that run all the way through and then up and insert into your mid-spine. And there's your abdominals that are also have insertions in your pelvis. And there's your lower back muscles, the same. So all of those muscles can be used in different ways to do something like this rocking, this tilting of your pelvis forward and back. Okay, and then let that go and let your legs lie long, and just once again rest on your back. So can you come to a sitting position now? So sit up and lean on your hands behind you. So your arms are long and outstretched behind you, and your legs are bent, and the soles of your feet are together. I love that you're wearing pink socks, Rachel. You've added some colour and highlights into the video. And the little mittens are good too. Great. Okay, so enough of that. So in this position, can you, again, just gently tilt your pelvis forward and back, and just feel how you can do it in this position. So it's the same idea, just a different orientation. So I want you to deliberately introduce your breathing into this movement. And I'd like you to breathe in, inhale to inflate your belly as you roll your pelvis forward. So as you push your belly forward, you're rolling your pelvis forward, and it's tilting towards your coccyx. And then as you tilt your pelvis back towards your sacrum, you are exhaling and pulling your belly in. So you're really deliberately employing the use of your belly here. And it's almost like, and so you're folding yourself, so you're folding yourself back. It's like when you're tilting your pelvis back, your back is folding and coming down towards the floor. And then when you're tilting your pelvis forward, you're arching your back and thrusting your belly and your chest forward. And so go easy as well. Don't want to hyperventilate. It's just using the idea of breath to assist this movement. And just so some caveats for this. So your arms are staying straight. Just if you're inclined to bend your arms at all, you don't need to do that. And you don't need to push. And you're not trying to get the most extreme range of movement here, just really wanting to have a sense that there is this tilting forward and back of your pelvis. Doesn't really matter for it to be a large movement. In fact, a small and clear movement is better. Okay, great. And roll back onto your back and let your legs go long and have another rest. And bend your knees and stand your feet at a comfortable distance, about hip width. And now we're just going to introduce the idea of the clock. Again, and for those of you who did this last week, no, I should have said this earlier. So we introduced this idea and ran a whole lesson on it last week, but you need not have done that lesson to do this one, because this one is a standalone lesson. It's just going to take it on some other directions and fill in some places as well. So imagine under your pelvis there is a clock, a traditional clock, an analog clock. And it's the orientation of the clock is that the 12 o'clock, the 12 is under the part of your pelvis that's closest to your head, so your sacrum, and the 6 o'clock is where your coccyx is. Okay, so 12 o'clock's the top, closest to your head. 6 o'clock is down at your tail. Now 3 o'clock is over to the left, so it's kind of like if you were standing up and looking down at the clock, it's more like if the clock was on the ceiling and then it dropped down. No, hang on, that's not right as well. All right, let's go with this idea. Let's go with this idea. 12 o'clock is at your sacrum, 6 o'clock is at your tail, 3 o'clock is over to the left. Yep. And 9 o'clock's over to the right. Okay. So it is like you were standing above it and looking at it. I was confusing myself. So 3 o'clock's to the left, 9 o'clock's to the right. Okay, so everyone clear on that? Hopefully you're clearer than I am. Wow. You wouldn't think I have this written down, but I do. It's just to really make it feel live and full of errors. Okay, now what I want you to do is roll the weight of your pelvis. First of all, just roll the weight between 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock. So you're doing what you were doing before. You're just tilting your pelvis up and down. And it's just that when you tilt it up, so your back is flat, that's 12 o'clock. And then when you tilt it down and your back arches, that's 6 o'clock. So 6 o'clock is this arched position with a space under your lower back, and 12 o'clock is the flattened position with no space. And just for kind of vivid imaginary fun, Feldenkrais talks about a mouse, and that when that arch is opened up, it's big enough for a mouse to crawl through, and then you can squash the mouse when you flatten your back. But I don't know if that anyway. It's not the best not the best visual for me anyway. Okay, so you're running down a center line here, a center line of pressure. So as you do you feel that you are running down this straight line, or do you veer off to the side anywhere in going 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock? Because that's the first thing to notice. Okay, so pause. Now tilt your pelvis to 12 o'clock. So your back is flat. And now, can you move the weight of your pelvis, the pressure of your pelvis, over to 3 o'clock? So over to the left. And then come back to 12. Now to do that, so we're just exploring this quadrant of the clock, 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock. But I want you to do it by rolling around the rim. So you're going 12, 1, 2, 3, and then 3, 2, 1, 12. And just be as clear as you can that you are exploring this outer rim of the clock. So you're not going in a straight line, you're rolling around. Just feel how you do that. And then pause at 3. And can you now go 3, 4, 5, 6. And then 6, 5, 4, 3. And go back and forth. 3 to 6, 6 to 3. And again, you're rolling around the rim of the bottom quadrant of your clock. Bottom left quadrant. And then can you pause at 6? And in being at 6, does this 6 feel the same as the 6 that you did when you were just going 12 to 6? Are you in the same position? Is the arch in your back lifted? So just roll 12 to 6 again. And come to 6 and just really be sure that, okay, yep, this is 6. This is the same 6 when you go 12 to 6 as it is when you go 3 to 6. 6 has to be the same. So from 6, can you then go roll all the way around the left side to 12 again? So you're going 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 12. And then all the way back. All the way back around the rim to 6. And now from 6, can you shunt straight through the middle to 12? So the straight line to 12. And then roll around the rim back to 6. So 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then roll back around to 12. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then shunt straight down the middle down to 6. Great. Okay, have a rest on your back. So just starting to get a sense of some of the what the discrimination of the muscles that allow to go to very specific places. And so I'll just say now, what I want you to look out for across this lesson is the numbers of the clock that feel more obscure in your sense of yourself and in your sense of your movement possibilities. Because they're there for everyone, whether it's just through what you've learnt, the habits of self-use, whether you've suffered injuries and in the recovery from the injuries there are certain muscles that have turned off. That's definitely the case for me from having lots of knee injuries. There are different muscles that have kind of shut down. So it's influence over time, it's habits, just through how you've learnt to move, it's recovery from injury and rehabilitation, It can even be emotional holding or responses that you've had to different trauma in your life. So it can be all manner of manifestations of why there are certain movements of your pelvis which are absent. And so I invite you to feel into this with a gentle curiosity and sensitivity in yourself, which is why the light movement is necessary. Light, looking for ease, and when you get to an area, it's like, oh, that's just not clear. I don't understand how to get to 2 o'clock, or I don't understand how to get to 3 o'clock. Don't just steamroll it. Just kind of go, oh, how curious, and then go back to where you can go. Go back to where it does feel comfortable, and then extend out again. And each time, it's like you're an explorer going on a journey. Each iteration is something new, and embark upon it differently each time. Use a different strategy, a different technique, but always look for ease and look for lightness. These are the cues. Okay, so can you sit up again and lean on your hands? So it's that same position, and the soles of your feet are together. And roll your pelvis, tilt your pelvis to 12 o'clock. So fold your back, so your back's coming down towards the floor a little bit, and you're rounding yourself. And then move your pelvis to 1, 2, and 3 o'clock. And just feel how you do it here. And remember the use of your abdomen here. So in rolling around to 1, 2, 3, just feel that you're pushing your belly out. Pushing your belly out as though it's almost like the direction of your abdomen being thrust out is driving the rolling of your pelvis. And so go back and forth this way. And just be really aware that it's the reverse. When you come back to 12, you're sucking your belly in, so your back can round and kind of drop to the floor. It's not going to touch the floor, of course, it's just the direction. So back and forth. And then next time you get to 3, pause at 3. And can you roll around to 6? So 3, 4, 5, 6, and then back to 3 again. So 5, 4, 3. And just go back and forth, this lower quadrant. And again, it's the same idea that you were doing on your back. You're rolling around the rim. Okay, when you're at 6, pause. And now I want you to roll all the way around that left side of the clock, all the way back over to 12. And then from 12, all the way back around to 6. So 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then all the way back to 12. And then all the way back to 6. And then pause at 6. And now come directly straight through the middle to 12. And just feel, is this 12 the same as the 12 as when you go around the edge? And from 12, now go all the way back around the left side again to 6. And again, is this the same 6 as when you go 6 to 12? Now shunt straight through the middle, back to 6, back to 12, sorry. Back to 12. And then all the way around the outside to 6. Yep, and pause. Now, something different. From 6, just roll 5, 4. And then at 4, back to 6. So 4, 5, 6. And then 6, 5, 4. And then at 4, pause. Now go from 4, 3, 2. And then 2, 3, 4. Now, Does the distance between 4 and 2 feel like the same distance as 4 to 6? Just explore that. Because they should be. If the clock is a really beautiful round clock and the numbers are all equidistant apart, then 6 to 4 should be the same distance as 4 to 2. Okay, next time you're at 2, pause and go from 2 till 12 and 12 to 2. And following the same logic, this should be the same distance as 2 to 4 and 4 to 6. So just feel that in yourself. Okay, next time you're at 12, pause. And have the pleasure of going all the way around the left side again. So 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then back around. So just go a few times exploring this outer rim of the clock. Yep. If your hands and arms are doing too much work, you can try actually not leaning so far back. It can be a little bit more upright so there's not as much weight on your hands. Try just being a little bit more forward. Okay, and now just go 12 to 6 again, straight through the middle. And have a rest on your back. Feel into how your back's lying and whether it is lying any flatter than it was before. Are there any differences between the left side of your back and pelvis to your right side? So we've just done a lot of exploration of the left. So sometimes feel there's a softening, there's an opening, there's a warmth. Okay, can you now prop yourself up on your elbows? So you're leaning on your elbows and bend your knees again and put the soles of your feet together. So your knees are hanging out. And in this position, can you explore tilting between 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock? Just feel how it is here. Much bigger range than when you're sitting in this position. So just feel it nice and clear. And again, you're pushing your belly out. Pushing your belly out when you're going to 6 o'clock. And you're sucking your belly in when you're coming to 12 o'clock. Okay, next time you're at 6, pause. And roll around the rim to 12. So you're going 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 12. And then go straight down to 6, and then roll around the rim again. And straight down. Roll around the rim again. Okay, now reverse it. So 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 around the rim, and then straight up to 12. Do that a few times. Just feel how you do it in this position. Can you make it nice and smooth? Can you make it an expanded, large, smooth, graceful, clear movement? Change direction at will. Is one direction easier for you than the other? And have another rest lying down. Bend your knees and stand your feet in this lying position. have your feet hip width apart, thereabouts. And can you now do, again, we're just exploring this left half of your clock, but this time with the idea of really being clear about where each of those numbers are and really sensing yourself, like map them out. So let's do this together. So tilt to 12 o'clock. And now as we go around, just really feel when you are rolling over. It's almost like, imagine each of the numbers was embossed, was raised, and you can feel it pressing against the back of your pelvis. So you really want to have a sense when you're rolling over each of the numbers. Okay, so go to 12, and now let's roll around to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and now straight back up to 12, and again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, straight back up to 12. And now just keep exploring that yourself, and just feel in yourself that, are each of these numbers the same distance apart, or is there any number that for some reason just isn't as clear, or that pops up sooner than it should, or just that you have trouble with in any way? And change direction when you want to. And pause. Okay, can you come up to a sitting position again? So leaning on your hands, legs bent, soles of feet together, and tilt to 12 o'clock. And now roll all the way around to 6. Now, slowly from 6, we're now going to start on the right hand side. So from 6, 7, 8, 9, so you should be all the way off to the right now. 10, 11, 12, 1, sorry, 12, stop at 12. and now go all the way around to the right again. 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. And then back around. So you're just exploring the right hand side of the clock. Now it probably feels pretty clunky. It's to be expected, of course, right? Because you haven't been doing this side. So just feel your way through it. I'm equally clunky with my talking about it. So just going back and forth, just around the right side. Okay. And then pause, just have a rest in sitting for a moment. Just take the weight off your hands. And lean on your hands once more. Soles of your feet together. Now, from 12, just go to 9. So, and it's the same idea that you were doing before. So it's just this upper right quadrant. Going 12, 11, 10, 9, and then 9, 10, 11, 12. So you're just going around the rim and just mapping that out. Now already here you have something to compare it to, because you know how this feels on the other side. So just feel your way through it here. And of course you'll start making distinctions like, oh, this is easier, oh, this is more difficult, oh, this just feels the same. So just notice what you notice. And then can you pause at 9? And now we're going to keep on going. 10, 11, 12. Now is 12 o'clock here the same as... So come back to 9, so all the way to the right hand side. And pause. And then roll around to 6. So 9, 10, sorry, 9... Am I getting this all twisted, or are you?
Yeah, no,
I am. Okay,
well,
sorry.
You said back to 12, but I thought you went keep going to 6. But you...
Yeah, back to 6.
Should we start 12 again?
start at 12. Okay, everybody, let's do this together. It's notoriously difficult to teach this lesson. All right. Okay, so 12 o'clock. So tilt your pelvis to 12. So your back should be rounded and the weight should be somewhere near your sacrum. Okay, now you're going to roll around the right. So 12, 11, 9, 10, 9. Wow. Okay, so now you're all the way. Now I just want you to explore 8, 7, 6, and then 6, 7, 8, 9. And just go back and forth around this bottom right-hand quadrant. And then pause at 6 and shunt straight through the middle up to 12, and then go all the way around the right-hand side, all the way around that rim of your right-hand side of the clock, down to 6, and then straight up to 12. And do it again. Just explore this right rim. Okay, next time you're at 6, pause and continue on. 6, 5, 4, 3, go anti-clockwise all the way around your clock. So you're doing a full revolution around your clock now in an anti-clockwise direction. Just looking for smoothness, being sure to hit every hour as you go around. Okay, do we dare do this next bit? Yes, let's do it. All right, keep going around your clock and stop at 10. So where's 10? Go around to 9, so you know 9's all the way around to the right, and now come back one number to 10. All right, from 10, go in a straight line, dissecting the center of your clock down to 4. So 4 is just beneath 3. That's it. And from there, and then go back. Go straight back and just go back and forth along that line, just being clear. 10 to 4, 4 to 10. And next time you're at 4, pause and go in a straight line to 6. So it's just two spots along your clock to 6 at the bottom. That's it. Now go back to 4 in a straight line, and then from 4 go straight back to 10. Okay, from 10 go in a straight line to 12. So it's just 2 spots as well. Now those 2 spots the same length as the spots from 4 till 6. Explore them. Explore. It's kind of like a Zorro, is a Z shape. It's a kind of an upside down Z. Okay, you got that? Great. Okay, now go take yourself to 6 again and go in a clockwise direction now all the way around. Yeah, so from 6, you're going 7, 8, 9, around to the right, all the way around to 12, and then 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Continue. Just being really clear that you're hitting every hour. Okay, and stop when you get to 9. From 9, go straight through the center of your clock to 3. And then straight back through to 9. Does that line feel the same as when you were doing 4 till 10? Should. Go back and forth a few times and then continue in an anti-clockwise direction. Doing a full revolution around. Let's do a couple of revolutions and pause and have a rest, lying down. And just feel into how you're lying, feel how your body feels, and the sense, do you feel that you've equalized a bit? the left and right halves of yourself. You come into something more unified. And bend your knees, stand your feet. And can you move yourself in a clockwise direction around your clock? Feel how you do it in this lying. And now you're looking for smoothness. Really wanting a smooth, full excursion around the outer rim of your clock. And if you can do this in a very smooth fashion, where you're not having to employ lots of extra sort of extraneous muscular effort, you might even be able to feel at the back of your head that your head is following in the same little trajectory, or rather that the back of your head is also tracking around in this clockwise circle. If you had a pencil or laser beam sticking out of the end of your nose, it would be drawing a circle on the ceiling. So pause and change the direction. And just feel that your head is also changed direction. Notice how your jaw is. Let your teeth be apart. If your jaw can be relaxed, it'll really help. Okay, stop at 9. And then reverse and go around the top part of your clock to 3. And go back and forth. So you're just exploring the top half of your clock now. 3, around 2, 1, 12, 11, 10, 9, and back. You'll notice I'm choosing not to say the numbers because I'll garble them. Just go back and forth, just around the top rim of your clock. Okay, and pause. So next time you're at 3, pause. So around to the left. And now just explore the bottom half of your clock. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. And go back and forth. And just feel. Does this feel just as round and the same size as the top half? Okay, pause, let your legs go long. Just have a little rest. And can you come back up onto your elbows and put your soles of your feet together, knees apart, and can you do a full circle around your clock in an anti-clockwise direction? Again, you're looking for clarity, smoothness. Of course, you use your muscles differently in this position to how you use them when you're on your back, to how you use them when you're sitting up. So each orientation offers you a different access point, offers you a different window through which you can observe yourself. And pause and change the direction. So go in a clockwise direction. Stop at 9, so off to the right, and just do the top half of your clock. So from 9 back up to 12, and then around to 3, and then from 3 back around to 12 and down to 9. Go back and forth, just explore this top half. Feel the size, how large it is when you're in this reclined position. Just notice, you're still using your belly, you're still employing your breathing. Can you let your jaw be soft? And it's it's difficult in this position because it takes a fair bit of effort to be holding yourself up on your shoulder, on your elbows like this. So you're using effort at the same time as really using the sort of sensitivity to discriminate. Okay, pause at 3, and now go explore the bottom half. So from 3 down to 6, and then back up around to 9, and from 9 back down to 3, and around to down to 6 and back up to 3. You go back and forth. And there's this field just as large as the top half. Is it clearer or less clear? And there's this bottom half, and was that top half the same size as the left and right half? Let's see. Stop at 6 and just explore the right half all the way around to 12 and back around to 6. Does that feel the same size? What about the left half? Let's try that. 12 all the way down to 6, going 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and back up. Each of these halves should be just as clear, just as round, and the same size. Okay, what about a nice big full circle? So go clockwise, fully around your circle. And enjoy the expansiveness here. Make it as full as is comfortable for you. A full circle, and you can pick up some speed now. It's really like fly around this circle. Enjoy the potential, what your spine can offer you here, what your belly can enable, what your back can assist in. And pause and go the other direction. Start slowly, and then let it increase gradually as well until you're flying around in this anti-clockwise fashion. And have a full rest on your back. In fact, roll over onto your right side, just for a moment, just to take the forces off your back. And roll onto your left side. Pour yourself over onto your left side. And roll yourself back onto your back. Let everything go. Let yourself lie long. Okay. Last section, everybody. So stand your feet, bend your knees, stand your feet, and cross your right ankle over your left knee. So right ankle's kind of sitting on your left knee. That right knee is hanging out. And can you now make little anti-clockwise, counterclockwise circles in this position? So go slowly, just feel how you do it. So really interesting things happen here because you've lost the capacity to push off your right foot, of course. And so you really get the chance now to feel what muscles are employed. How do those hip flexors work? Are they assisting? What's your back and belly doing? Can your circle be clear here? Try the other direction, go clockwise. Pause for a moment. Now cross that leg all the way over. So your knee is fully crossed. And again, make little circles. You choose the direction. Choose the direction that feels more fluid to you. And now pick up some speed. And they don't need to be large here, you just want them to be clear. And pause. Let your legs lie long. Just briefly. Bend your knees, stand your feet. Cross your left ankle over your right knee. And again, make clockwise circles here. Do you have the same clarity or less clarity on this side? And you're looking for the same round shape. Same round, fully circumscribed circle. Change direction. Pause, cross your left knee all the way over and continue making little circles. Try both directions. And choose the direction that feels best for you, and then pick up some speed. Just make them tiny little circles that can be very well formed and very quickly done. Pause, let your legs lie long. Actually, bend your knees, stand your feet. Now, this is a final thing. Let's just go back to what you did at the very beginning. Let's return to this idea of the mouse running through a tunnel. So just gently roll to 12 o'clock and to 6 o'clock, down to 6 o'clock, and just feel how clear it is now. If you did want to squash the mouse, just feel, is this clearer than at the beginning? If you like, just for the sense of satisfaction, you can tuck your lower arm under the arch of your back and squash or put both hands underneath there and just have the satisfaction of squashing your hands into the floor. Just feeling the power of your pelvis here. This tilting, this rolling action of your pelvis that's being supported by all of these muscles, which hopefully over the course of this lesson have become more able to discriminate, differentiate, and integrate to make these movements clear and precise, to make all those numbers of the clock clear and precise. Okay, that's great. Let yourself lie long. Now, if there were any sections of the clock that just, for one reason or another, just didn't feel clear, or it might not even be as clear to you as them not being clear. It might just be like there's a disturbance in the force at certain areas, or that there's some bits that just didn't feel as nice to you. Like this quality of experiential pleasure lacking. Or it might just be that it could be the opposite, that there were some areas that frustrated you, or could manifest in other ways as well, like made you feel a particular way, brought up a feeling. Like I said at the beginning, because the pelvis is so central, and how we use it can be connected to all kinds of things, including trauma. Try and grant yourself the license to be okay with whatever feelings come up in response to doing this kind of work. So, and I'll leave you with, I want to leave you with the ease and fluidity of the movement. So just, and remember that as well, that 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock, rolling of the pelvis, and letting the movement transfer to your head, feeling that your head can be free to move on the end of your spine. It is a really beautiful movement to practice when you're feeling tense, when you're feeling pent up, or that you've got aggravation or pains in your hips or sacrum, lower back, any of those areas, just to lie on the floor and to intentionally and with awareness just gently flatten the curve of your lower back and be aware of whether that movement is having the corresponding movement of your head. It's a beautiful thing to return to. And what I find often is if I am super bound up or tense, I can do that movement and then I'll notice that my head isn't moving. There are too many other muscles that are holding on that are preventing my head, and then in becoming aware of that, I can let those go, and then that has a massive effect. So I hope you got something out of that lesson today. I'll be around on Facebook for the next half an hour answering your questions, if you have any, or taking comments, and I look forward to seeing you next week for the last session in May, and I'll see you then. Thanks for joining me. Bye.